Is dihydroberberine dangerous? I'm seeing all these Twitter posts, YouTube videos. One says dihydroberberine is the best thing since sliced bread. Other people say don't take it. It doesn't do anything at all. We're starting now. I'm going to say this right off the bat. I'm a huge fan of dihydroberberine, but we do have to dig into the side effects. What are all these other health gurus talking about? It kind of scared me seeing some of these posts. Look, I'm going to be blunt with you here. The injectable medications are better in weight loss. They are, but they're extremely expensive and they potentially are more potent, have more side effects. What dihydroberberine is, it's a more natural supplement. There's less quality control, but because it is natural, it's not processed in a lab where everything's pure. It's kind of like eating food. Some people can have good versions, some people can react badly. But in general, the side effect profile for dihydroberberine is fairly good, and the benefits, in my opinion, are extremely good and extremely well studied at this point for dihydroberberine and berberine. Dihydroberberine and berberine are both natural alkaloids, with dihydroberberine being a slightly modified version of berberine. Now, when people think hydrogenated, they think hydrogenated oils. These are two completely different things. Berberine is an all-natural component found in a lot of different roots, such as turmeric root, golden seal. It does come naturally. A slight chemical process is used to turn dihydroberberine into one that's more absorbed. Naturally, I think there is a small percentage of dihydroberberine, but most of it in the root is found as berberine. Is that natural? I think it's still pretty natural. Is the hydrogenation itself a bad thing? No. Water is hydrogenated, for example. So if you're worried about hydrogenation, don't ever drink water again. Hydrogenated fats are something completely different. Dihydroberberine has been found to have a lot of advantages over berberine. Particularly, the number one thing that it does much better than berberine is you can take a lot less to get the exact same blood level of berberine. What that means is you can take on average about 50% less or about 1/3 less to get the same amount of quantity of berberine in your bloodstream, and the same weight loss effects and other diabetes effects that we'll talk about. Why is this important? Anytime you take a lot of supplement, the additives, the preservatives, they can have some side effects. So if you're eating 3 times as much versus one component, then you're probably going to have a lot less side effects, a lot less reactions to these things. Here are some key points specifically. A study in 2016 in the journal Metabolism found that dihydroberberine had significantly better bioavailability than berberine. The study demonstrated that dihydroberberine was more efficiently absorbed and converted back into berberine within the body, including less side effects, and they had higher blood levels of berberine. This was written in 2016. The journal article was Dihydroberberine Exhibits Enhanced Oral Bioavailability and Beneficial Metabolic Effects. You can look that one up in the Metabolism journal. But again, is it the most detailed study? No, it was performed on mammals, not necessarily humans. Number 2 journal article is called The Enhanced Metabolic Effects of Dihydroberberine. This was published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. It showed that dihydroberberine was much more potent on glucose and lipid metabolism. What happens is after a large meal of, say, an ice cream, your blood sugar did not shoot up as much if you took dihydroberberine ahead of time. This lowered blood glucose levels and improved your blood lipid levels. That means your cholesterol, your fat. But again, this was an animal study. This was in 2011. It was called The Effect of Dihydroberberine on Glucose Metabolism in High-Fat Diet-Induced Insulin-Resistant Mice. Study number 3, reduced gastrointestinal side effect. In 2013, in the Journal of Phytomedicine, a study was performed regarding dihydroberberine showing that it caused fewer gastrointestinal side effects. So less gas, less bloating. I know with all the weight loss drugs now, I won't mention the specifics because I don't think I'm allowed to on YouTube, but you know, the injectable once a week ones, there's a lot of different ones out there now and there's new ones coming out. The problem is a lot of my patients, when they eat at like 8, 9, 10 p.m. at night, they get such bad gas and cramping at night because it slows down your digestion. That's probably the number one most common side effect I see with all these weight loss drugs is it just bloats you, your digestion's slow, it just spreads it out more. And people really suffer because they still want to eat that food sometimes, but it just bloats and almost explodes their stomach. Like I've had patients tell me they can't move for like 6 hours the next morning. Dihydroberberine, it's much lower dosage. It can help out with a lot of those side effects. That study is called the Comparative Study on Gastrointestinal Side Effects of Dihydroberberine and berberine. That's in the Journal of Phytomedicine. Number 4 study, better anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. A study in 2014 published by the Biochemical Pharmacology Journal showed that dihydroberberine exhibits stronger anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects compared to berberine, thus giving it much more broad effects. That makes sense because it's more potent, it's more bioavailable. It kind of does the same thing. It just does more of the good stuff. So that's in the Biochemical Journal of Pharmacology. Number 5 study, enhanced stability and conversion. A study by Chang in Phytotherapy in 2020, so a little bit newer journal article, found that dihydroberberine is much more stable in the gastrointestinal environment and is much more readily converted to its active form of berberine within the body. This enhanced stability and conversion contribute to its improved efficacy. So it's much more effective, it's converted well, it's relatively safe in the body, so all good things. That's in the Journal of Phytotherapy Research. So that's 5 pretty reasonable studies. Are there newer ones? Yes, actually there are, but they're mostly focused on berberine. But I think what these studies prove is dihydroberberine basically is berberine. It's just absorbed better in our gut and goes into your blood levels higher and turns back into berberine. I think all the studies on berberine are essentially effective. So in my opinion, I personally have dihydroberberine available, and when I eat some ice cream or something, I've been on a big mission of cutting as well. If I eat some sweets or something, I have dihydroberberine, I take it, and it actually does drop my blood sugar levels than if I did not take it. Kind of spreads out that sugar deposition. You still get those calories, but it spreads it out. So let's look at the side effects. Studies universally agree overall that dihydroberberine is safer than berberine. And berberine has been around for years and years and years, being used consistently. Dihydroberberine is a naturally occurring compound, and it is a derivative of berberine. It is a well-known alkaloid found in several plants. That means it's all natural. It comes from natural sources. It is often studied for its potential health benefits, including its role in managing blood sugars, weight loss, improving insulin sensitivity, and heart function. So the number one reason people are looking up for this is weight loss, and we're going to go over the exact studies and why it's potentially better than berberine. Here's the key points. Dihydroberberine is a very slight modification of the already famous berberine, and it does have some benefits as a result, including better absorption. It has been researched for its potential to enhance glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity, making it of extreme importance to type 2 diabetics who have very high blood sugar. So this is probably the most proven benefits, is keeping your blood sugar levels a little bit more reasonable after a big meal, so a lot of that's not pumped right back into your fat. The number one side effect is gastrointestinal issues. Now, I'm gonna start this off. I work at a diabetes clinic, and a ton, I'm talking hundreds of our patients are on the weight loss medications. I won't mention the specific names, but the number one problem I see with these are, at the beginning it works great because you don't have an appetite, but then as they start to kind of pull back a little bit, you want to eat your ice cream again, you eventually want to eat stuff later at night. And what these medications do is they slow down passage through your gut. And so it sits there longer. It doesn't spike your blood sugar as quickly. And what happens is you get bloated, you get gassy. I've had patients tell me that they could not move for like the first 6 hours of the next day and had to call off work because they were so bloated, their stomach was so distended, they were gassy. So this is the number one side effect with these weight loss type medications. A study performed in the Metabolism Journal in 2010 showed that a very small percentage, 2 or 3% or so, showed mild GI symptoms. Approximately 1/3 more symptoms were seen in berberine. So with dihydroberberine, you take less of a dosage than with berberine. Berberine's always going to have some more side effects unless there's something extra in that supplement that's irritating you. In my opinion though, that's a pretty low rate, and the reality is, if it is bothering you, just don't take it. It's relatively straightforward. Number 2, liver enzyme evaluations. So this is a little bit more of a scary one, so let's investigate. The Journal of Cellular and Molecular Medicine, using an animal model, found that there was mild elevations of liver enzymes in some animals. Now this was 5%. It wasn't some type of catastrophic injury. It just made the liver process a little bit more. If you stay within the reasonable dosage rates, I don't really see anything dangerous in the berberine studies. Now berberine's more popular and you have to take higher dosages. Those large-scale human studies show that berberine is relatively safe and there's very little liver side effects. I think they're extremely low, but I go over that specifically in my berberine meta-analysis video. Number 3, fatigue. In the journal Obesity in 2015, again, a mice study found that approximately 8% of mice seemed to be a little bit tired. They slept a little bit more. You're not absorbing as much blood sugar. You're probably not as energetic. Number 4 kind of leads into the previous study. This was in the journal Diabetes in 2010. Found that if you take too much dihydroberberine, it can actually lower your blood sugar levels. There's instances of low blood sugar levels seen in some of these mice. That happened in about 3% of mice treated with dihydroberberine. Here's the summary of side effects. Number 1 is gastrointestinal issue. With any of these weight loss medications, that's always going to be the number 1 problem. I think any supplement, you're going to have that 2 to 3%. And I will say this again about supplements. The additives are really what do it. It's not just the dihydroberberine, although it is in a lot of people, but it's all that extra stuff, just taking something new. Maybe it reacts with something in your food, makes you gassy. Number 2 consideration is it dangerous for the liver? It makes your liver work a little bit harder. I would say if you're not taking catastrophic amounts, like huge scoops, like double, triple, quadruple the dosage, that's usually where I hear of these things going badly. But the human studies for berberine are relatively safe. I don't think they mention anything catastrophic or dangerous in any cases. But again, check out those specific studies in that video. And fatigue. It can make you a little bit less tired. That's kind of associated with hypoglycemia. I'm going to link those two together. Obviously, you're taking it to lower your blood sugar as a diabetic or for weight loss, so it can make you a little bit more tired. Dihydroberberine, the studies all kind of agree. It's safer than berberine. In my opinion, berberine, all natural, has been around so long. A lot of people would have complained if all this bad stuff was happening. Now, I think where the Twitter and the YouTube posts and the Facebook posts really get it right is these weight loss medications or supplements are not the answer. Really, they can help. In my opinion, they do help. There is a noticeable difference in my blood sugar levels if I take it or don't take it after a meal with some sugar in it. But overall, you want to strength train, you want to eat a healthy diet, absolutely. Neither the prescription drugs or this will turn you into a healthy specimen if you're not also exercising and watching with what you eat. How much berberine per day? The appropriate daily dosage of dihydroberberine can vary depending on the individual health goals, but specifically most people watch this for weight loss and lowering blood sugar levels. All the studies that I have seen take about 100 or 150 or 200 milligrams once or twice per day. So almost all the studies I looked at vary between 200 to 300 total dihydroberberine per day. This provides an effective dose to get all the results such as blood sugar control, insulin sensitivity, weight loss. This is really the way to go. If you want to look at dihydroberberine for weight loss, check out this video on the benefits and recommendations of choosing a dihydroberberine supplement and all the tips and tricks how to use it, including the proper dosages. Check that out right here.